I recently did a post about this in Troy's mastermind group, but I think it would be helpful if I explain this here. It doesn't matter what level that you're at, whether that's a beginner, mid-level, high level. If you work with somebody who does not run your material and does not give you the stats for how it performed, and specifically how much money it made, because your future client doesn't give a fuck about anything else. Open rates, click-throughs, the only time those things are relevant is if it doubles, triples, etc. their sale. What is the dollar figure? And if your current client can't tell you that, if you have no mechanism for figuring out if you're improving or not, for the love of God, don't accept the client. If you can help it, do not accept the client. I don't care if they are paying you several $1,000s, if they are not going to run your material. And you might think, well, if they're paying me $5,000 or $10,000, of course they're going to run my material. Of course they're established. It is not a guarantee. You need to put this in your contract, or you put it in your contract. It doesn't fucking matter. If they're not going to run it, they're not going to run it. If they're not in a position to run it because their business is falling apart, it doesn't fucking matter. So it falls upon you. How can you put those odds in your favor then? Because even people who will pay you several $1,000s up front may not necessarily run your stuff. And this has happened with me. If they got money to blow, they'll pay you $5,000, $10,000, not run your material because of something on their end, even if they want to run it, or they'll run it a year later. Why is this bad for you? I don't think I explained that part. Because you can't go to the future prospect and say, I made this much, and you can't raise your prices, and you can't get a foothold in the industry. I'm switching hands because my hand is tired. Enjoy my thumb. So then how can you put the odds in your favor? Well, depending on who you ask, this could be a bad idea, because a lot of brands will also keep their cards close to your chest. They want you to believe that the prestige of beating a control is so great. Listen, do you want to beat a control, or do you want some fucking money? Yeah, you want that money. You want all that money. I want that money. Typically, if you work with a direct response brand on a retainer, they're paying you every single month. They track the open rates. They give you the numbers. They live and die by your copy, or by your media buying, I suppose, could be another example. But for the sake of you and myself copywriting, they will reward you for good copy, and they will show you those numbers. You got to be careful because, okay, they have competitors. They're not going to outright say certain figures because they don't want competitors to say, oh, that thing they just ran is doing really well, right? You got to be careful with that. But for the most part, they'll say vaguely, like, you made us $10,000. As a result of your contribution, we are a 7-figure company. That's relevant. And that's what your next client is going to want to see. And that's how you can justify a price increase as well. I hope that is the answer that you were maybe not expecting, but it's the one that you need.